What is up? This is alertwolf here to bring you another review. And this time, it's going to be a Blast of Tempest, episode 15. And this one is called You Seem to Be Plotting Something. Alright, and basically, the episode starts off with Mahiro and Samon just chilling, hanging out at the mall, goofing around, and the fact that they really do have a lot in common. Then our Mage of Exodus, which I'm not good with his name, so I'm going to cheat and look on this phone here. Himura. Hamura. Alright. Right, so he basically, or Megumu, let's just go with Megumu, it's just easier to say. Megumu, he basically, he goes, meets up with Evangeline, he flexes his muscles a bit, shows her his power, and destroys a root that's sticking out like a tree, part of the tree of Genesis. He just wipes it out, which surprises the hell out of him. They panic and get the hell out of there. I mean, they were also with the spear user too, because which she calls him Natsu, and he's like, don't call me that, which I understand, man. I wouldn't want to be called Natsu either. Nah, I just kid. Fairy tale's all right, but basically, he's surprised by his power. Now, it's obvious this kid is pretty gentle, even though he has such destructive power. Now, what our boy Natsu, the spear user, notices is, he doesn't, important facts about how he uses magic, which is different from the others. Because if the others use magic defensively, I think his magic is offensive. Now, his magic, he doesn't have to make any type of sacrifice. He just does it at will. The other thing is, he doesn't seem to suffer from magic fatigue or anything like that. Meaning, if this kid was ever gone to the dark side, he could be a dangerous enemy and a big threat. So, and these are just interesting observations and important because we get the inner workings of the knowledge of how Exodus magic works, which is very important. Now, so they go back and they're headed back to meet up with Mahiro and figure out if this is the guy who really killed Aika, and or not. And we also get basically the princess and Yoshino are out, and they're in a carnival, or not a carnival, like a theme park, excuse me, and everybody there seems to be coupling and having fun, and she's super nervous to be with them, and he's very dry about it. He cracks some jokes and comments, and basically she's wondering how everybody can be so, it just doesn't seem right that a billion people died and people are fine. And he's like, well, we're used to this because there's always been war, famine, disease, crime, and now there's no more war. So if this could be considered the most peaceful time. She's like, I can't figure out if you're being kind or cold sometimes. She's like, I'm sorry. Then so let me, what? I'm not gonna go back and forth. I'm gonna get rid of her stuff right now, and then we'll go back to the other stories. So basically, June stops by and tells Yoshino to go get them some drinks. So he gives them money so they can go get drinks. And she's like, well, so what did you want to talk to me about? And he's like, so you're in love with Yoshino, right? She's like, no, I'm not. And then she gets all girly about it. It's like, yeah, but it starts describing him and says that she wants to stroke his ear all night and stuff like that. He's like, yeah, you're in love, because if not, that would be pretty scary, just wanting to touch some dude's ear. And then she's like, yeah, but he has a girlfriend. He goes, yeah, and you shouldn't fall for him. You shouldn't go after him. And she's like, well, yeah, you should go after a guy with a girlfriend. But that's not what I mean. I mean, because if you really do want him, the tree of Genesis will kill his girlfriend so you two can be together. And she hadn't thought of that. And she hadn't realized she was in love with him until that point. He had to smack her in the face with it. Now, at the same time, all right. So let's go off to the other story now. So, the Mage of Exodus arrives. Megumi. See, I thought that was a girl's name. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I got his name right. Alright. And, so they sit down, they get, Mahiro questions him on what's going on, and, where were you on this date? And he's like, well, okay, I was with my girlfriend on that date. She could back it up. But, he's like, so if I go talk to your girlfriend, I find out if you're really my sister's killer or not, and confirm your alibi. And he's like, well, I don't want to bring her involved. It's too dangerous. And we kind of broke up, and she won't talk to me anymore. Oh, so you were a stalker. So there's that. He's like, well, I could take this out on your body then, which is kind of gay, the way it sounded. And even he was like, no, not my body. What do you plan on doing? So they go down to the mat area, I guess the gym part, and they start sparring. And it's interesting because I don't know why Mahiro's trying to spar with him. He's trying to see what type of power he has. And Simone and what's his face? The military guy, Evangeline's boss, Hiawatha. Or not Hiawatha. Or Iowa? Not Hiawatha. Hayakawa. Excuse me. I misread the name. Hayakawa. He and Simone are plotting something. They actually want to they're creating this weird hidden armor thing for the Mage of Exodus. And it's funny. It's just weird, like I don't know, just weird armor and a helmet and a mask, like he's some sort of hero or villain or something. I don't know, like he's some sort of super villain. It's funny, and it's basically so you can't see what he looks like, but they want to do some experimentation and find out the very meaning behind these two trees. They ask the princess, she says no, because the experiments they want to do, and they want to use the Mage of Exodus to do it, is to delve deeper into the tree, and she's afraid it could hurt the tree or whatever, blah blah blah. So, but it's interesting because they're planning to do that. Now, meanwhile, back to Mahiro sparring with this kid, and it's funny to me again that they're sparring because he's kicking this kid's ass. This kid is not as good as him, but even though he has powerful magic, because he's not really trying to hurt Mahiro, and Mahiro's not using any magic at all. And again, it's just funny to me that they spend a few days training, or a few hours, not days, but a few hours training, and the kid is getting stronger. He's getting more accurate with his magic. So why is he trying to hit? Because I think Mahiro really doesn't believe that he's the killer, but there is an off chance he's hiding his true persona. Like this is an act. So, and he's very shrewd about it, because if this was an act, this guy would have missed a chance to kill the guy that's been trying to kill him. You know what I mean? Why miss? And he could just play it off as an accident, not knowing your own strength. So, good stuff. And again, the other two still, I got lost and sidetracked by their names, but they're at what they were planning to do, but they still don't know if this wasn't all set up by Yoshino, because again, they think he might be the Mage of Exodus, simply because the princess is in love with him. And we don't know what the hell he's doing because he's plotting and scheming, baby. Yeah. Always using that brain of his. So then the kid starts to get good, actually, or better. And then initially he makes fun of him about his girlfriend, and that's what sparks him to use his powers. He does it again, and he's like, well, at least I don't have a sister complex. And everybody's there. It's like, ooh, you said it. You're not supposed to say that. And in their heads are like, oh, man, but we've all wanted to tell him that, right? And he's like, sister complex? He's like, she wasn't even my real sister, you know? How can I have a sister complex when she wasn't even my real sister? You know, she was adopted. And you know, it was only through marriage. So there you go. She wasn't my sister. And he's like, because that's right. He said he dumped him for being pathetic. She dumped the Mage of Exodus for being too pathetic. And he's like, well, at least I'm not. Basically, he's saying, at least I'm not a sister fucker. You know, I don't have a sister complex. And he's like, so he explains this, and then he goes, wait a minute, man. So that sounds like to me that if you don't consider her your real sister, then you don't have it's not a sister complex. And he's like, what was that? He's like, you were in love with your sister. He's like, shut up, man. And then he walks away because he doesn't want to deal with the fact that he was in love with this crazy bitch. And that's that. So then Evangeline drags him away, and basically to put him on, and shows him the armor, and she's like, haha, we're gonna put the armor on you. And that's pretty much, more or less, the entire episode. The next episode's called Wandering Apparition, and it shows, you know, the princess and Yoshino getting closer. Now, what did I think of this episode? As you can tell, good mood. This episode was fun. I dug the sparring, and again, there was an over explanation. It's just the right amount. There's a nice blend in this anime of mystery, intrigue, action, magic, suspense. You know, not really knowing who's who. It's almost like a spy movie the way this is done, and I really do like it. So this episode, I'm going to give this episode a 3.5. Yeah, 3.5 out of 5. It wasn't exactly a 4, but it was very good, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, having said that, I think that's it. I think I said my piece on this episode, so click it up if you like it, comment if you must, and please, please, please subscribe if you can. And this is Alert Wolf signing off.